Hello there, and welcome back to my mini-series on the history of what is currently the World of David Walliams at Alton Towers. Previously I've covered the Fairground, Talbot Street, the Land of Make-Believe and Cred Street, so please do take a look at those videos if you like. And now it's time for Cloud Cuckoo Land, so I hope you enjoy. Cloud Cuckoo Land opened in 2009 and still had an imaginative, colourful theme similar to previous incarnations of the area. Quirky, large and over-the-top theming was certainly apparent here, and the area retained many attractions from Cred Street. The dark boat ride Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was still in place, having opened in 2006, and I do go into more detail about specifics of this ride in my Cred Street video. It was not as popular as people hoped it would be, however, closing after the Christmas 2015 event, although it was initially announced as undergoing TLC or Towers Loving Care, before later being removed from publications without any announcement. Weeds were left to grow outside the entrance before this area and the inside theming were cleared for development of the dungeon, which opened in 2019 and took the surrounding area out of Cloud Cuckoo Land. The Frog Hopper remained but did receive a retheme and was still located outside of the building used for the Cred Street attraction Nickelodeon Out of Control. Occasionally it was moved for Christmas events before being relocated to the front of the theatre in 2017. The Gallopers Carousel was also rethemed and stayed in the centre of the area. A new addition when the area opened, although not a new ride at the park, was Twirling Toadstool, previously known or themed as the Wave Swinger when it opened in 1984, before becoming Ugg Swinger. Side note, but maybe I'll do a video on Uggland one day. This was a classic chair swing attraction, and as the new name suggests, was themed as a giant toadstool, with even the operator's cabin themed in. It lasted about 2 minutes and was able to take 1,000 riders per hour, or 48 riders in one cycle. The ride operated for the last time during Christmas 2016, and again was another attraction announced as receiving TLC, all the while sitting in bits behind temporary fencing. Amazingly, it took until 2019 before it was actually removed from the website, and it stood where Flavio's Fabulous Fandango used to sit. The indoor playground was turned into Wubble World, containing 2 large bouncy castles. Big Wobble for children 0.9 to 1.2 metres tall, and Little Wobble for those under 0.9. It had a bit of a fuzzy start, however, as when Cloud Cuckoo Land opened, the previous playground equipment was still in place. After approximately 1 month, though, the bouncy castles had arrived. At times, Wubble World was closed or operated with reduced opening hours in line with cuts at the park, a bit like the World of David Walliams does today. Wubble World closed for good after the end of the 2015 main season, being yet another attraction named as receiving TLC. Instead, the building was emptied and turned into a scare maze for the 2016 Scarefest, namely House of Monsters. At the beginning of 2017, Wubble World was removed from the website. House of Monsters lasted until the end of the 2018 Scarefest event. The theatre was still in place, with a show running 3 times a day from 2009 to 2010 called The Wonderful World of Cloud Cuckoo Land. This was brought in as part of the introduction of the new area and contained some of the same characters as the previous show The Wonders of Algernon's Attic, such as Sir Algernon's niece Lucy and Snorlax, but introduced occupants of Cloud Cuckoo Land, Daryl and Clarissa. In 2010 this changed to Milkshake Workout Live in association with the Channel 5 kids TV show of the same name, which I believe was a summer show. In 2011, guests could enjoy the Go 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 show featuring Sir Attenborough Baffled, who went missing in Cloud Cuckoo Land Jungle, his brother Mr. Baffled and his pop star friends. This was a dance and sing-along show which had apparently come from the West End. It was to be the last show in the theatre, however, as after this it was turned into a 4D cinema. Now, the 4D cinema was based around the film Ice Age and opened in March 2012. The facade and an area of outside theming was transformed to include lots of pale blue and icicles, and the film's characters could be found wandering around meeting guests. Part of the Nickelodeon Out of Control building from the days of Cred Street was used for the game known as Sid's Snowball Toss. 2 rooms at the Splash Landings Hotel were also given an icy makeover. In terms of the actual show, it lasted 12 minutes and guests would be given 3D glasses to wear. There was also a green screen photo opportunity whilst queuing. To mimic the Ice Age, the temperature inside the theatre was reduced thanks to air conditioning, and guests were seated on simple benches rather than individual chairs. Other 4D effects included leg ticklers, wind, snow and even bubbles. The toy shop that accompanied the theatre was also revamped accordingly, with the many pieces of merchandise being Ice Age based. At the end of the 2016 season, the 4D cinema closed along with the accompanying shop, and as we know it today, is still SB&O, or standing but not operating, and word has it that it is just used for storage these days. The ice cream shop was turned into Wubble World Cafe, which opened when Cloud Cuckoo Land did, with prices ranging from £3 to £7. When it got to 2016, this only opened for peak periods before closing permanently at the end of the 2016 season. The large Burger King, which opened in 2008 near to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, remained until it was replaced in 2013 by Burger Kitchen, not an actual brand, but an in-house Merlin chain that could be found at other parks, which is still at Alton Towers today. The driving school was still known as Peugeot 207 Driving School when Cloud Cuckoo Land opened, but became the Peugeot Driving School in 2010. In this year, Rory's Playden arrived, replacing the Peugeot showroom, located next to where you could purchase driving licences after the driving school. Rory's Playden did look a little basic, but contained some wall graphics including puzzles and magic mirrors. Side note, but in my previous Cred Street video, I did forget to mention that the Peugeot showroom took over what used to be the fabulous toy shop, and the driving school entrance went through the old sweet shop. In 2012, the Peugeot branding was removed altogether and a miniature driving school featuring remote control cars was introduced near the Education Centre. Now, the Education Centre is something I could not find more information on in terms of its origins. In 2016, the driving school was another attraction that closed to receive TLC. However, unlike some of the other rides that were supposedly getting this treatment, it was not permanently closed. Instead, it became Cuckoo Cars Driving School, which opened in 2017. Strangely, this attraction is still at the park today, in the same place, and did not receive any notable changes or rethemes when the area became the World of David Walliams. It even still has the Cloud Cuckoo Land theming on the signs and the exact same name. In October 2019, it was announced that Cloud Cuckoo Land would be closing. The area had suffered some closures of big attractions in recent years prior, so it wasn't surprising that it was time for something new. And that new thing was the World of David Walliams, which will be the topic of my next video. And that's it. Thank you for watching/listening, and I'll see you next time.